media, asking me what's really going on. I mean, I still remember in 2003, they were very serious. They were very curious whether the Congress is truly intending to propose a about-face policy change overnight in terms of U.S. troops stationed in the Korean Peninsula. I mean, I still remember the news media in Korea showed some great concerns. But how come did a foreign country like South Korea know some details about Ron Paul's position and reputation inside the Beltway? So they were, I mean, naturally curious about what this resolution was all about and the consequences. So, as we can understand from Congressman Paul's episode under this speech, zero co-sponsors mean no support to a large extent, but at the same time, its potential impacts are not necessarily negligible, particularly from the perspective of foreign countries. So, I mean, we do know about, I mean, his reputations and records. I mean, when he was appearing on the Meet the Press a couple of years ago, when he was running for the presidential election in 2008, he was asked by the late Tim Russert, what will you do if North Korea is invading South Korea? He said, we don't have to do anything. That was his answer. I mean, it's very interesting kind of sort of a position. But as I said, I mean, from a foreign country's perspective, where we don't have much information about what's really going on inside Congress, I mean, that resolution might be symbolically conveying some misguided information about the U.S. foreign policy. Okay, I have tried to collect direct DPRK measures in Congress from 1993 and 2009, and turned out that there has been 26 bills and resolutions directly addressing the North Korea issues. So by directly, I mean that, I have excluded any bills and resolutions containing North Korea and other countries like Syria, Iran, and others. Right? So I just wanted to see, how Congress is responding directly to the issue of North Korea by having excluded many other bills and resolutions addressing other terror states, rogue states. So out of the total of 26, 14 bills and resolutions had to do with nuclear non-proliferation problem. And the U.S. Congress expressed the sense of Congress by condemning North Korea for its nuclear program development and missile launch. And also U.S. Congress urged North Korea to come back to the agreed framework of 1994. Another 7 measures were related to the human rights abuses in North Korea. So my analysis. First of all, I checked who co-sponsored North Korea bills and resolutions and how many times during this period. And table 1 shows the list. I'm pretty sure that you're seeing many familiar names in Congress. The top 2 winners are 2 Republicans, Ed Royce and Chris Smith of New Jersey. And number 2 spot taken by Dana Rohrabacher and Rose Latinen. If I'm mispronouncing their names, please bear with me. There are a lot of interesting names in Congress as well. John Boehner, Evan Bayh. If you think about the spelling, Kirsten Gillibrand. That's my hobby. To find out what the right pronunciation is. But if I'm wrong, please correct me. Gary Ackerman on the Democratic Party side, Gary Ackerman and Ed Markey of Boston, and Howard Berman, Elsie Hastings, and Diane Watson, Wexler, Mike Honda. So just pressing on the question of who and how many times, we got 2 top winners and 2 runners-up. As I said, 2 winners are Ed Royce and Chris Smith, and runners-up are Rohrabacher and Rose Latinen. So winners. The Congressman Ed Royce represents California's 40th congressional district. where Asians and Latinos are constituting more than the 50% of the population. In addition, Orange County, if you know the place, part of Congressman Roy's district, is one of the biggest Korean American population communities in the entire country. And Congressman Chris Smith, who has represented New Jersey's 4th district since 1981, has successfully established his foreign policy entrepreneurship with a focus on human rights promotion around the world. So it is hardly surprising to see Orange County congressman and the leading voice on human rights issues in Congress taking on the co-sponsorship of a bill addressing North Korea issues. Runners-up, Rohrabacher, representing the coastline of Huntington Beach and Costa Mesa in California, is arguably one of the most colorful and conservative member of Congress. If you know him, we students of Congress are using this measurement, the DW nominated scores, to gauge the ideological positions of members of Congress. And his DW nominated score is 0.8 something, when the DW nominated score is -1 is extreme liberal, +1 extreme conservative. So plus 1.0 is extreme conservative, and his DW nominated score is 0.826 in the 110th Congress. So his number is very close to Congressman Jim Sensenbrenner of Wisconsin. Also, he is a high-profile critique of Chinese government, and Rohrabacher has actively participated in co-sponsorship activities regarding North Korea's human rights violations. Congresswoman Rose Latinen, author of the North Korean Human Rights Reauthorization Act of 2008, serves as a ranking Republican on the Foreign Affairs Committee in the 111th Congress, the current Congress. In 2008, she was strongly opposed to the Bush administration's decision to remove North Korea from a list of state sponsors of terrorism. Next figures presented give you some idea of where these North Korea co-sponsoring members of Congress come from. So one big notion in the study of Congress is electoral connections. Among them is the connection between district interest and representatives voting and other legislative activities like co-sponsorship. So in this context, co-sponsorship of North Korea bills and resolutions by members of Congress seem to be not an exception. The left side graph shows a state breakdown by how many times co-sponsorship activities by members of Congress. As you can see, obviously, California is the #1 state, having 17 members of Congress who co-sponsored North Korea measures at least 2 times from 1993 through 2009. The Golden State is followed by Illinois, New York, Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, and so on. And the right side graph is simply the 2000 census data on the Korean population by state. The order is California, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Washington, Texas, Virginia, and so on. So if you compare these two graphs, the bottom line information is that there seems to be a high level of electoral connections between representatives and voters' concerns members do care about. All right, now I turn to some statistical analysis of co-sponsorship activities by members of Congress regarding the North Korea issues. Well, I mean, this is very simple and typical analysis of Congress and members of Congress behavior. The dependent variable is members of Congress voting decisions, and independent variables we are usually using our constituency and ideology and party influence and presidential influence. So I just followed a typical analysis in congressional literature by setting up a dependent variable and testing a diverse set of independent variables and hypotheses through regressional analysis. So like I said, our dependent variable is obviously members of Congress co-sponsorship decision, like co-sponsorship or not. So coded, so I've got 1 coded for co-sponsorship, I've got a 0 coded for, not